We are still waiting for 6 people, but we would like to start to move this along. So I have found out that legally we can do the Pledge of Allegiance, have the invocation, and then we have a citation that we'd like to give out to the body here for everybody to know about. So, and once that's finished, let's hope we have our 6 bodies that we need to continue and start with the town meeting. So at this point, I would like to ask the Board of Selectmen to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and everybody else to rise, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now I would like to ask for Reverend Robert Pope Opake. Reverend Bob.
So I'm so glad my father's name was Bob. Let us ask God's blessing upon our gathering tonight. Let us pray. O loving God, we thank you for this evening and for gathering us here as the community that we love so much. And Lord, we pray your blessing upon us as we discuss the business of our town. And Lord, we pray for your wisdom to be with each of us, especially with our leaders who have offered themselves in service to our community. Bless them, O Lord, bless each of us. We thank you for the freedoms that we enjoy, and we thank you for those who have made those freedoms possible. We pray your blessings especially on our veterans gathered here tonight, and all those, O Lord, who have given their lives so that we could be free. Bless us all, we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Snow, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen. And could I have the police chief up here too, please?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for being here tonight. I want to call Sergeant Dave Sedgwick. Would you come forward, please? One of the great things about being a selectman is when you get to do something like this, is we have a town proclamation tonight. We, the Board of Selectmen of the town of Raleigh, Massachusetts, by virtue of the authority vested in us by the people of Raleigh as elected officials, do hereby proclaim Sergeant David Sedgwick, having faithfully served in the exemplary manner by going above and beyond the normal call of duty by assisting in the 5-day investigation into the Boston Marathon bombing, which resulted in the capture of the second suspect, the Board of Selectmen wishes to bestow its most sincere gratitude. We urge all the citizens of the town of Raleigh, its community leaders, businesses, and government officials to recognize this achievement in service. In witness hereof, I hereby set my hand and seal of the town of Raleigh the 6th day of May 2013. Signed, Chairman of the Board, Robert Snow, Robert Murray, Vice Chairman, Joseph Perry, Clerk, Stuart Dalzell, Sr., and Jack Cook. Dave?
If you'll indulge me for another minute, I have a presentation I'd like to make to Sergeant Sedgwick as well. In brief explanation, as you know, during the week of April 15th, well, most of us were home glued to the television set. David had what we would call a first-hand view of what was going on. He belongs to an organization called NEMLIC, which is Northeast Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council, and they operate a SWAT team. David's a member of that SWAT team, and it was activated when the bombs blew up in Boston. David spent the next 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, providing security at local area Boston hospitals for persons of interest. And then on Thursday, after working his shift here in Raleigh till midnight, he was deployed directly to Watertown when the final events took place. where he spent from somewhere around 2 o'clock in the morning until about 7 o'clock that night, during which he was part of the most unorthodox and unprecedented manhunt we're probably ever going to see. And David didn't leave until after the subject was finally cornered, and he knew he was going to be apprehended, so they released a lot of the services. So for that, I'd like to read this commendation, and I'd like to have David bring his family forward, Patrick Garrett and his wife Alice. This commendation reads, on April 15th, 2013, at approximately 1450 hours, 2 individuals detonated 2 explosive devices in Boston at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. This triggered a mass casualty event and a massive manhunt that quickly reached national and even worldwide proportions, and which culminated in the death of 1 suspect and the apprehension of a 2nd suspect. The amount of manpower required to respond to this event rapidly exceeded the City of Boston's available resources. Law enforcement officers from local, state, and national agencies were represented and requested to render assistance. When the tragic events surrounding the death of MIT police officer Sean Collier took place, and the manhunt spread to Watertown, and some of those resources were diverted there for mutual aid. Sergeant David P. Sedgwick is assigned to Nemlik SWAT platoon and responded to the call-out. During the 5-day investigation and manhunt, Sergeant Sedgwick spent 34 hours assisting varied tasks, including security at Boston area hospitals for persons of interest, and culminating in Watertown performing up to 100 house-to-house searches. The suspect they were seeking was suspect number 2 in the Monday's fatal bombing, and was also implicated in the death of 1 police officer and the serious wounding of another. The suspect was eventually captured and charged with a variety of crimes. Whereas Sergeant David P. Sedgwick willingly responded to the call for assistance despite great personal risk, and whereas David P. Sedgwick placed himself in harm's way in order to protect citizens of Watertown, displaying bravery and heroism, whereas David P. Sedgwick's actions were above and beyond the call of normal duty, and whereas, as a result of David P. Sedgwick's actions and the actions of other officers who responded, an extremely dangerous and violent criminal was apprehended. Be it known that in accordance with the standards, traditions, and regulations of the Raleigh Police Department, Sergeant David P. Sedgwick is hereby awarded a ribbon of commendation for community service. Is there any EMT announced? David, congratulations. Good job. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Thank you.
Sergeant Sedgwick's mother and father are here. Would they stand up, please? I've got, one of the things I've been able to do in town is to ride with some of the police and the fire, and I got to ride with Sergeant Sedgwick. We truly have a professional police officer in Sergeant Sedgwick. My father was a police officer, so I grew up in a policeman's home, so I know what a professional police officer. Sergeant Sedgwick, you sure are. Thank you for being in our town.
Barbara, could you ask the constable if we've reached 100 yet? $99 and counting. Rick, is there anybody in the parking lot? Thank you. All right, they just go. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Certified, 100.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody has to see.
I've been informed that we finally have a quorum, so we can start this meeting. Do you want to read the people first? Or do you, okay. Under Section 11 of the town meeting bylaws, and with your consent, I have designated that the visitors be seated in the section to my left against the wall. If there are no objections, the visitors, we've already put them in here, but if there are no objections, we will allow them to be here. And these are people that are employees, various employees, or have some sort of time that they're going to be speaking before town meeting. If this is okay by everybody, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Bob, would you like to read your list?
I move to allow the following non-resident individual permission to speak, if called upon, during the May 6, 2013 special town meeting. Judith Pickett, Town Council. Deborah Egan, Town Administrator. Conservation Agent, Frank Basil. Pamela Jacobson, Library Director. Coordinating with Health Services, Franklin Johnny. Principal Assessor, Sean McFadden. Principal Building Inspector, Ken Ward. Highway Surveyor, Ron Keefe. John Rizzo, Water Superintendent. Laura Hamilton, Water Department Business Manager. William DeRosa, Whittier Vocational Technical School Superintendent. Christopher Farmer, Triton Regional School District Superintendent. Brian Fouvet, Triton Regional School District Assistant Superintendent. State Representative Brad Hill. Senator Bruce Tarr. David Jack, Interim Business Manager, Whittier Vocational School.
Second.
All those in favor of those people being able to speak before this assembly signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. It was a unanimous vote. I would like to just state a couple of things before we get started here. Thank you. That I will be using town meeting bylaws, town meeting times, which is a governing book that for moderators, and then if all else fails, we'll try and use some common sense so that we can move this meeting along. We're going to open with the special, and then we will finish, close it out, and then we will go to the regular annual town meeting. I would like that my normal time is 11 o'clock, and I think that the amount of people that are here tonight, we should be able to go through both of these special and the annual town meeting and move it along and hopefully be finished before 11 o'clock tonight. So with that being said, I want everybody to know that Article 1 and Article 2 are always open during whether it is the special or the annual town meeting. And the purpose of the special town meeting is to come up with the rest of the money and to have a balanced budget for the end of the fiscal year FY13, which we are finishing up on June 30th. The annual town meeting is to set the budget for the FY14 to run the town of Raleigh. So with that being said, Chairman Snow, would you please start to read the warrant for the special town meeting? Oh, I'm sorry, it's Sue. I'm sorry, Sue. Yeah. And I'm not on drugs tonight.
Town of Raleigh, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, warrant for special town meeting, May 6, 2013. SXSS, to the constables of the town of
Madam
Raleigh.
Moderator, I move to suspend further reading of the May 6, 2013 special town meeting warrant because present town meeting members have a copy of this warrant.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that everybody here has a copy of the special town meeting warrant. Is there anybody here that does not have a copy of that? If you need one, there is a box outside the door that we can gladly get you one. All those in favor of proceeding without reading the full warrant signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous.
8 o'clock.
Okay. Here we go, Bob.
Okay.
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. Article 3, I move the town to vote to suspend the town meeting, in the town meeting, the application of section 19 and section 20 of the town meeting bylaw pertaining to reconsideration of all money articles. Such suspension intended for the specific purpose to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21, Proposition 2.5, so-called, and give blanket warning hereby that any money article may, at the end of the meeting and after all articles have been acted upon, be moved for reconsideration in order to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any questions on this? Does everybody understand that you can bring back an article at any time until we close out the special town meeting for reconsideration? All those in favor of Article 3 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 4.
Madam Moderator, under Article 4, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $4,000 from line 31, Town Council litigation, of Article 5 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, to be added to line 7, Selectmen's expense of Article 5 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, to pay for the expenses incurred to hold the May 6, 2013 annual and special town meetings.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
It's been moved and seconded under Article 4 to transfer money to pay for this town meeting special. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 5.
Madam Moderator, Article 5, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $3,778 from Article 11, Cemetery Fence Repairs of January 11th, 2010, special town meeting to be used by the Board of Cemetery Commissioners for the purchase of a computer and software for the cemetery department.
It's moved in second. Finance Committee.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Jack, would you like to speak on this at all? Or?
Yes, over the years, we've been keeping track on cards, and with the update of what we have to do in there now to keep records up to date, we feel this is a very well-needed item for the cemetery to update our records that we hope to get back to a couple of hundred years when we get done. It's going to be a slow process, but this will give us a start, and it'll really, really help the operation in there, finding lots and stuff for the cemetery.
Does anybody have any questions regarding this article? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 6.
Karen Summit, 118 Central Street, Town Treasurer Collector. Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $5,500 from line 26, Assistant Collector Administrative Assistant wages of Article 5 of the April 30th, 2012 Annual Town Meeting to be used by the Treasurer Collector for the purpose of microfilming and archiving the permanent records of the Treasurer Collector's Office as defined by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Municipal Retention Schedule.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Karen, would you like to speak on it, please?
Yes, the state retention schedule says that we have to keep a certain selection of records as permanent records. These include treasurer's collections, payroll records, and various other records that the treasurer collector is the custodian of. Currently, these records are in various forms. We have some old books. We have, the wide printer paper from the 70s. We have many different forms that are cumbersome and will not stand the test of time. So we had a consultant come in and make some recommendations, and the recommendation was that we microfilm these permanent records so we have them. If we were ever to need to access them, we would have that ability, and they would stay, in a form where we could continue to access them.
Are there
Any
any
questions?
questions regarding this article? Please come step forward and speak at the mic, please, and state your name and address.
Franklin Devonshire, 89 Kittery Avenue. My question is, why aren't we going directly to a CD-based format or something like that rather than going to microfiche?
Because that's what the state tells us we can use as a permanent record.
Okay.
Are there any other questions on this article? All those in favor of Article 6 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 7 is in order.
Article 7, Madam Moderator.
Karen? Karen, I need your article.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $10,000 from free cash to be used by the 375th Anniversary Committee for celebratory events and activities to mark the town's 375th anniversary.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Okay. Would you like to speak on it?
Yes, I hope that some of you know that we have a 375th Anniversary Committee, and we have been meeting for several months, and we'll be planning many activities for next year, and we want you to hold the dates, special dates of September 4th, 5th, and 6th, and we should have a fun time. Thank you.
Are there any questions regarding this article? All those in favor of Article 7 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 8.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote that the sum of $43,500 is appropriated for a fire command vehicle, chief car, and a sum of $7,000 is appropriated for the purchase of mobile radios for the fire department. That to meet these appropriations, the following amount shall be transferred from the unexpended balance of funds originally borrowed for the following projects, which funds are no longer needed to complete the projects for which they were borrowed. That March 105, a fire truck that was originally bought was
$91,300 is unexpended balance of $20,264.13. June 15th, '09, a fire truck was purchased for $450,000. There's $26,698.17 unexpended balance. August 2nd, 2009, capital equipment and radios. There's $981.58 unexpended balance. August 9th, 2012, capital equipment, fire equipment. There's an unexpended balance of $1,313.59 for a total of $49,257.47, and that the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $1,242.53 from free cash for a total appropriation of $50,500, and that the Board of Selectmen is authorized to take any other action necessary to carry out this project.
Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Let's do, I think it's kind of self-explanatory, don't you? Are there any questions on this? I think just by reading through here, I think it's self-explanatory. Does anybody have any questions regarding on where the money is coming for the purchases? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 8?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Article 9.
Madam Moderator, Article 9. I move the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $12,000 to be used by the highway surveyor for the purchase of capital equipment for the highway department.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Okay. Jack, would you like to give a little explanation from down at the
Okay,
bottom?
what this purchase is going to be, these funds will be used to purchase a bagger unit for the mower, a new welder, a pressure washer, a hedge trimmer, and a pole saw.
Are there any questions regarding this article? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 9 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 10 is in order.
Madam Moderator, Article 10, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $3,300 from free cash to be used by the police chief to replace the existing flooring in the booking room and entryway of the police station, and to replace the existing carpeting in the interview room, offices, and hallway with new carpeting.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Chief, would you like to speak on this, please?
Just briefly, the booking room floor is tile. Anybody that's been in there has probably seen that the tiles are all pulling up. The carpet is in the areas that we want to replace is 15, 20 years old, and it's had a lot of traffic. So it's really time. It's threadbare.
Are there any questions regarding this article? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 11.
Madam Moderator, Article 11, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $6,000 from free cash to be used by the police chief to repair the cell block in the police station.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
The cell block at the police station is concrete. Anybody that has a cement floor or cement foundation knows that things settle after time. The cell block is inspected every year by the Department of Public Health, and when they find cracks in the floor and the wall, they find that a place where bacteria can grow, and they feel that's not in keeping with what they want for standards. So the money we would use here would be to have a mason come in, seal those cracks, put an epoxy coat down there so that we can pass our state evaluation.
Any questions on this article? Seeing none? All those in favor of Article 11 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 12.
I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $15,875 from line 163 water treatment plant loan interest of Article 6 of April 30th, 2012 annual town meeting to be used by the Board of Selectmen to pay a penalty issued by the Department of Environmental Protection in accordance with the administrative consent order with penalty and notice of non-compliance against the town of Raleigh for violations of federal and state drinking water laws and regulations.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
And I will tell you right now that on this article, it's going to be a paper ballot. Okay, who's going to speak on this? Bob?
For those who watch the selectmen's meetings, I believe you know my feelings on this issue. On the 14th of March, I had to attend a notice of enforcement conference at the DEP. We had a meeting on March 21st, attended by Deborah Egan, Town Administrator, John Rizza, Water Superintendent, Laura Hamilton, Budget Manager, Judith Pickett, Town Council. This was for the administrative consent order. This is in regards to the deer incident. I think you all know how I feel about this, because on the 25th, in my chairman's notes, I referred to this egregious and atrocious. And from that, moving forward, I asked the Board of Selectmen to vote to continue to monitor with a fiscal team by the Board, a fiscal team, and also the Board of Selectmen of all water matters. The total fine was $25,000. If we instituted the policies from the DEP, it was reduced to this $15,000, $875. We need to vote to pass this. I urge you tonight. Otherwise, we will incur additional fines. That's all I have.
And what would the additional fines be?
The additional fines would be,
After 30 days, it becomes $1,000 a day. So if we don't vote it tonight, we would have to call another town meeting, which would probably take longer than the 30 days to get the notices and the printing and everything done. So we'll be paying $1,000 a day until the fine is actually paid. So, as the Board of Selectmen, as a member of the Board of Selectmen, I would urge you to vote this tonight.
Are there any questions regarding this article? Come forward. Allow up to 3 or 4 people here to ask a question regarding this article. And then, yep, just stand. And then once we're finished, then I'm going to ask the counters to come and pass out a paper ballot. Could you please state your name and address, please?
Sure. It's Amy Trustler. I live at 694 Weathersfield Street. I understand that this bill needs to be paid, but I guess I wonder if there's been any discussion in the town about going after the 2 guys that are responsible for the assessment and having them reimburse the town in some fashion.
we are in the process. We have a team put together, 2 members of the Board of Selectmen, Tim Toomey, Water Commissioner, and Deborah Egan, to look into this matter. Everything is on the table. Nothing is off the table. That's all I can say at this particular time, because we're going forward in the investigation.
Is the town council here tonight?
Town council.
Yes.
I guess I'm just curious. I'm a lawyer myself, but I don't do this kind of work, and I'm just curious if legally, if the town could pursue some kind of reimbursement from them. I understand there's a cost associated with litigation, but it seems to me there's got to be some kind of message sent.
We would have to start our own independent action against the 2 miscreants.
Okay. What I'm just going to suggest that, in lieu of doing that, because again, I do understand there's a cost associated with that, but you should negotiate some kind of deal with these guys to do some community service, because it's really outrageous. Thank you.
She asked her question? Okay. Stay and speak at the mic, please. And
My name is Stephen Cassiotis. I'm from Newbury Road, Raleigh here, and I don't want to see the town have any more costs on not paying the fine in time, but you get an increase of $11,000 for the superintendent's wages. Don't give him the raise. Use that money to pay the fine.
I'm going to tell you right now that this assembly right here is not going to violate the open meeting law. You are now talking about an individual person who has been not duly notified that you could be talking about his performance or his wages or anything else, and that's a violation of the open meeting law. It's not my rules, it's the state of Massachusetts rules. Are there any other questions regarding this? Could I have my counters please come forward?
Make sure everyone on your side gets one, and one only. Give you back the extra. Same thing, everyone on your side, one only. Make sure everyone on your side gets one only. And then bring me back the extras.
What is going to happen is you're going to get a piece of paper that has yes and no on it. Yes is to pay the fine, no is not to pay the fine. We're going to come forward, we're going to put it into a bucket, then the counters are going to count it. And while we're waiting for the count, we're going to move on to Article 13, because this is not pertaining, Article 13 has nothing to do with Article 12. And once we get the results, as soon as I will read you the results of this. Sue's going to hold this bucket also.
Peter, can you?
Finance Committee, if you received yours yet? Okay. And anybody,
Thank you.
Millie, do you have? Sue, are you going to, Sue Leach? Sue Leach? Sue, can you hold would you hold the box? Want me to hold the box? Well, for them to put it,
And there's a rubbish barrel next to it. Thank you. So everyone has one,
all right, I'm going
no one
to,
has two.
I'm going to start with this side right here. If you please come down, put your vote in, and then go back to your seat, and then we'll do the other side.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, this side now, if you proceed, please.
Jamie, I think on this, do you want to read it? I think we're supposed to follow the format. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, yes, absolutely.
Doing Lee.
Yeah, she's up on it. Look at this.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie. Hello. Hey, Charlie.
Stage us. There you go. Careful, guys, nobody falling off.
No, I put mine in. Here, Bob. You can have that one.
Who's doing Article 13? Okay, Bob. All right, while they're counting, we're going to move on with Article 13. I told you I would like to see if we could get out of here for 11 o'clock. Everybody has voted? Thank you. Article 13.
Article 13, Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $5,000 from Article 23, the May 7, 2001 special town meeting, Town Hall roof leak repair, to be used by the Board of Selectmen to repair the ceiling in the Town Hall auditorium, and to repair the limited use elevator, and to remove a window above the elevator.
Second.
The reason we had to...
Wait a minute, Bob, Finance Committee recommendation?
Finance Committee recommends.
Obviously, the reason we had to fix the leak in the roof was because it was leaking into the auditorium. So now that we have that repaired, we would like to repair the ceiling in the auditorium. Also, the limited use elevator, there's a window above that has started to leak, so we want to remove that and take care of that problem.
Are there any questions regarding this article? All those in favor of Article 13 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 14.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to appropriate the sum of $6,256.74 for the removal of the fire escape at the Town Hall Annex, and that to meet this appropriation, the following amount shall be transferred from the unexpended balance of funds originally borrowed for the following project, which funds are no longer needed to complete the project for which it was borrowed.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Yeah, Bob, would you like to read the rest of that article, please?
The date was
Joe, I mean.
June 29, 2010. Capital equipment, original amount was $134,000. Unexpended balance, $6,256.74. And to transfer and appropriate $5,500 from Article 15 of the November 5th, 2007 special town meeting, Town Hall roof replacement, for a total appropriation of $11,756.74, and that the Board of Selectmen is authorized to take any other action to carry out this project.
It's been moved and seconded, and the Finance Committee has made its recommendation. Joe, would you like to give a little explanation on this, please?
The Town Hall Annex fire escape needs to be removed because it is not safe. The passage of this article transfers the balance of the town common gazebo roof replacement project of $6,256.74, and the balance of an article to replace the town hall roof to a new appropriation for the removal of the fire escape. Both the town common gazebo roof project and the town hall roof replacement projects were completed under budget. These funds are now available for appropriation.
Are there any questions regarding Article 14? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 14 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 15.
Bill Gaynor, Central Street, Raleigh. I make a motion, I move the town vote pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44B, to transfer and appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund Community Historic Resource Reserve account and the Community Preservation Fund unreserved account the amount of $1,000 to be used by the Board of Cemetery Commissioners for the preservation and restoration of the giant copper beech tree, which is reported to be more than 130 years old, at the entrance to the Raleigh Cemetery located on Main Street.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Want to give a little?
Community Preservation Committee approved this, and what it is, there's a branch that's hanging down. It could fall, so we're going to have it cabled up, and it won't fall and destroy some of the older gravestones that are there. And now that the fence is up again, we hate to see anything happen to the fence. And there's a little bit of disease that's on there, and the company's going to spray it and stop the disease from spreading any further. So it shouldn't really make much of a difference as far as how it looks now. There'll be no holes in it or anything once we finish with it.
Are there any other questions on Article 15? All those in favor of Article 15 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. I have the results of Article 16. Yes, 98, no, 7. There is a total of 105 votes. Passes. Article 12 passes. And we're at Article 16 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44B, to transfer and appropriate from the Community Preservation Fund unreserved account the amount of $135,000 to be used by the Board of Selectmen for the preservation and restoration of the exterior of the old center school located at 39 Central Street, also known as the Town Hall Annex.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Okay. Joe, would you like to give a little explanation?
The Community Preservation Committee has approved this article. The purpose of this article is to fund a restoration of the exterior of the Town Hall Annex and will include re-siding the building with red cedar clapboard, repairing, replacing the trim, insulating the building, replacing the gutters, and painting. All work will conform to the Historic District Commission's rules and regulations.
Are there any questions regarding Article 16? Seeing none, all those in favor, I signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 16 passes. 17 is in order.
Curtis Turner, 372 Weathersfield Street. I move the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to transfer the 5.3-acre Bishop property, being a portion of Batchelder Meadow, or Batchelder Meadow so-called, identified in the assessor's records as map 14, parcel 19, and acquired by the town pursuant to Article 33 of the November 15, 2004 special town meeting for general municipal purposes, to the care, custody, and control of the Raleigh Conservation Commission for conservation purposes, under the provision of Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 8C, as it may be from time to time amended, and subject to the Constitution Amendment, Article 97.
There's no requirement on this by the Finance Committee. Could you give a brief explanation of this, please?
This is the final step in a land swap under this parcel to be put under the care and custody of the Conservation Commission to compensate for another parcel that was removed from the conservation protection in order to construct a cellular communications tower off of Smith Lane. This property is basically swamp land that's out in the general area behind McDonald's.
Are there any questions regarding this article? Okay, this is a 2/3 vote, so if I do not hear a unanimous vote, we will have to count, and it'll be a hand count on this one. All those in favor of Article 17 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Article 18 is in order.
Madam Moderator, Article 18, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $20,000 from the cemetery sale of lots and graves account to be used by the Board of Cemetery Commissioners to expand Sections G and H of the cemetery.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Jack?
Okay, what this does, it's not a tax item. It's when people come in and buy lots, it goes into this account of sale and lots and graves account. And what we are going to do, we appropriated 6 years ago a amount, and we do need to start another section. We have almost filled up what is known as Section G. The new section is going to be Section H. And we need this to just make up lots, and we got to put a driveway in between G and H, and this is what this sum of money is going to be for, to help us fund that.
Are there any questions regarding this article? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 19 is in order.
My name is Tim Toomey. I'm on the Board of Water Commissioners, and I live on Central Street. Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer the appropriate and appropriate the sum of $6,000 from line 163, Water Treatment Plant Interim Loan Interest of Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, for the purpose of, 1, purchasing and repairing the fence at well station number 3. Number 2, for the purchase of new keys for the storage tank in well stations 2, 3, and 5. And 3, to update the existing alarm system at 401 Central Street and storage tank on the well stations number 2, 3, and 5. Do I have a second?
Second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Who's going to speak, the Board of Selectmen or the Water?
Again, this is for security features at the well site, and this, again, is part of the DEP consent order.
Do you want to add anything else to that? Or are you all set?
These are necessary expenses to maintain our safety with the public water supply.
Karen, could you come forward and explain what line 163 is? Because we have several articles coming up with this, and I think I would like everybody to listen what line 163 is and where this money is coming from.
Line 163 is a line that was put in at last year's town meeting to pay for interest on the water treatment plant. When we were putting together the budget a year ago, we didn't know when we would have to start paying, how much we would have to start paying on the water treatment plant. There was a portion of it that was permanently borrowed last May. We didn't know what the principal and interest payments on that would be. So we made an estimate, we made a conservative estimate, and this is money that we did not need to spend in this fiscal year. It was extra money.
So regarding all of these, under line 163, there is money, the money is available for this. It's not coming from somewhere new.
Any questions?
Is that right? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Are there any questions regarding this article? Okay. All those in favor of Article 19 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 20 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $2,352.96 from line 149, Water Department wages, of Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, to be added to line 148, business manager salary, of Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, for the total appropriation of $52,024.96.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
This article is very necessary because we have Laura Hamilton sitting over there. She helped us out in a time of need to maintain our department, maintain our safety of our drinking water supply. Her conduct is exemplary, and we're very lucky to have Laura Hamilton take us through this. We had a period of 2 months where we didn't have a superintendent, and she stepped up to the plate, and she really performed in a very, very professional manner. So I strongly urge that we vote this thing through.
Are there any questions regarding this article? All those in favor of Article 20 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous.
841.
Article 21 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $1,200 from line 163, there's that line again, of Article 6 at the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, for the purpose of purchasing 2 new filing cabinets for the Water Department Business Office.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
This is another necessary thing. We have the money available, and we need some adequate storage cabinets for our business records. Right now, we need a couple of them, and I think we can manage with that.
Are there any questions regarding Article 21? All those in favor of Article 21 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 22 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $5,000 from line 163 of Article 6, the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, for the purpose of purchasing emergency safety equipment.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
This article is, we need some safety equipment to help us have a safe operation during emergency repairs of water line breaks, where we have to get into sometimes very deep trenches. We have to certify that trench as being safe. We also have a number of confined space buildings in our facility, which we need to make sure we maintain a safe entry and exit from there. So we had the money this year, so we decided that we should get this need out of the way. So that's what this article's for.
Just to back up what Tim is talking about, this is the safety equipment. As many of you know, I worked in the utility business for 40 years, and this is safety equipment which is required in going into vaults and going into trenches. There's a tripod device that the employee would use when going into a trench or going into a vaulted area And there's a possibility where there's gas or there's dead air, no oxygen. So they need a power ventilator in the vault, or the trench would have to be power ventilated for a specific time according to the cubic feet of that vault that they have to go into. So this is necessary.
Okay, which one are we on here? All right, are there any questions on Article 22? Yes, step forward, please, and state your name and address, please, and speak into the mic.
Richard Gagnon, 74 Bennett Hill Road. This $5,000 for these emergency safety equipment, does this come with the training on this equipment so that it's properly utilized? We currently are providing training for our personnel that, which includes this kind of training. So that'd be a separate thing on our training budget. We do have plans to make sure that they're properly trained to use this equipment, and that's already in place.
Any other questions regarding this article? Seeing no other questions? Under Article 22, all those in favor of Article 22 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 23.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer appropriate the sum of $1,500 from line 163 of Article 6, the annual town meeting of April 30, 2012, to be added to line 154, the new water building principal, to Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30, 2012, for a total appropriation of $11,500.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Can we have an explanation, please?
I think that we have.
Karen, would you like to explain
It's a finance question. I would rather have her explain it.
What happened was, last February, the town had the opportunity to refund and refinance some debt. And when we received the new debt schedules back, two of the things were mislabeled. We have a town Pingree well, and then we had the water building. So they were simply mislabeled. So we had too much money in one and not enough in the other one. Unfortunately, one was in the general fund and one was in the water. So we need to transfer the $1,500 for the principal, and then the next article is the interest on that. So we're just moving money from one debt piece to another debt piece.
Are there any questions regarding this article? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 24 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer the appropriate the sum of $66 from line 163 of Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30, 2012, to be added to line 55, new water building interest, Article 6, in the annual town meeting of April 30, 2012, total appropriation of $1,535.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Once again, that's related to the same issue we had before.
Are there any questions regarding this article? All those in favor of Article 24 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 25. Can I have 23 and 24?
There's a phone. Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer the appropriate the sum of $10,000 from line 163 of Article 6, the annual town meeting of April 30, 2013, That's 2012. Sorry. To be used by the water superintendent for the purpose of developing standard operating procedures. Do I have a second?
Second.
This article, we have had standard operating procedures for our department for a long time. We needed to update them to encompass a lot of other scenarios that we were dealing with this year. And it just was part of the requirements of the DEP. So we had to move forward in making sure that our SOP, or standard operating procedure, was up to the standards of the state.
Finance Committee.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
And just as a note to everybody, that on the second line at the end of it, it says the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2013. That should be 2012. Was a typo. Are there any questions regarding this Article 25? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 25 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous and passes. 26 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $20,000 from line 163 for Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, to be added to line 150, maintenance and expenses of Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, for the total appropriation of $475,000.
Second.
Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee does not recommend this article. Upon review of the balance and the wages line item of the Water Department, we feel there's sufficient funds to cover this expense. Therefore, the Finance Committee would like to amend this article to the following: to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $20,000 from line 149, Water Department wages, to Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, to be added to line 150, maintenance and expenses of Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, for a total appropriation of $475,000.
Is there a second on your amendment? Seconded. Okay. And you have it in writing in?
Do we need to sign it?
Yes, you do.
Rereading the article, the amended article, to see if the town will vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $20,000 from line 149, Water Department wages, of Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, to be added to line 150, maintenance and expenses of Article 6 of the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, for a total appropriation of $475,000. Same amount of money, we're just suggesting it come from a different line item.
May I ask that this was voted at a Finance Committee meeting? Okay. The procedure is that we will vote on the amendment, and then if that passes, then the original article is no longer in place. If it doesn't pass, then we will go back to the original article. Now, are there any questions on the amendment article? Does everybody understand this? Okay. All those in favor of the amended of Article number 26 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The amended article passes. Amended Article 26 passes. Article 27 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $25,000 from line 163 of Article 6, the annual town meeting of April 30th, 2012, for the purpose of paying Water Department unemployment claims. Do I have a second?
Second.
The Finance Committee does not recommend this article. In the past, this unemployment has been paid through the expense line item, and in this regular town meeting, we'll see that this item is funded for future years.
Okay. Is there any questions regarding this? You understood the reasons why the Finance Committee is not recommending this article? Are there any questions regarding that? All those in favor? Oh, Karen?
Karen Summit, 118 Central Street. I'd just like to make the point that this transfer is for claims that may occur in fiscal year 2013, not in future years. This would be anything that would have to be paid between now and June 30th.
Are there any questions regarding that? All righty. All those in favor of Article 27 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we'll have a hand count on that, please. Counters, come forward.
I think the question is where it's coming from, though.
Under Article 27, all those in favor of passing this article, please raise your hand and keep it up until the counters go past you. That's it. Okay. All those opposed, please raise your hand and keep them up until the counters come forward. We'll just take a minute and we'll have the results. Okay, Joe's going to do it. Okay, under Article 27, yes, 15, no, 65. The article fails. Article 28 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to accept the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 140-139C, so that no license fee shall be charged for a dog owned by a person aged 70 years or over.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Okay. At least if you're 70, this is going to be a deal in this town. All right. Any questions under Article 28? All those in favor of Article 28 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 28 passes. I'm not going to bring that up. Article 29 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to amend Section 5 of the dog bylaw of the general bylaws of the town of Rowley by first deleting Section 5.5.1 and 5.2 dog license fees as shown in strike through on page 7 in Article 29 of the May 6, 2013 special town warrant, town meeting warrant, and replacing it with a new Section 5, 5.1, and 5.2 to read as follows. Section 5, dog license fees. 5.1, annual license fee for a spayed or neutered altered dog, $10. 5.2, annual license fee for a non-spayed, neutered, intact dog, $20. Veterinarian certificate showing proof of rabies vaccination and neutering required. And to add the following new sections, 5.3, 5.4, and 5.5, to read as follows. 5.3, no fee shall be charged for a license for a service animal as defined by the Americans with Disabilities Act, or for service animals trained to work with federal, state, or local law enforcement agencies. 5.4, no fee shall be charged for dogs licensed to a person over 70 years of age pending acceptance of Mass General Laws, Section 140, Section 139C, proof of rabies vaccination and age of dog owner required. Proof of vaccination still required. 5.5, in any year that a dog owner fails to license his dog, the following year the owner shall pay, in addition to the annual license fee, a fee equivalent to the license fee and penalties due the prior year.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Are there any questions regarding this article? All those in favor of Article 29 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 29 passes. Article 30.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to amend Section 7 of the dog bylaw of the general bylaws of the town of Rowley by deleting Section 7.1 and 7.2 as shown on page 8 in Article 30 of the May 6, 2013 special town meeting warrant, and replacing it with a new Section 7.1 to read as follows. Section 7, pickup fees. 7.1, fee for pickup all strays and/or unlicensed dogs, $25.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding this article? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 30 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 30 passes. Article 31.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to amend Section 9 of the dog bylaw of the general bylaws of the town of Rowley by deleting Section 9.2 as shown on page 8 in Article 31 of the May 6, 2013 special town meeting warrant, and replacing it with a new Section 9.2 to read as follows. 9.2, an owner of a dog who is found to be in violation of any provision of Section 2 or Section 3 of this bylaw shall be subject to the following fines as provided for in the enforcement of town bylaws. First offense, $50. Second offense, $75. Each subsequent offense, $100.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Are there any questions regarding Article 31? All those in favor of Article 31 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 31 passes. Article 32 is in place.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to amend Section 10 of the dog bylaw of the general bylaws of the town of Rowley by deleting Section 10 as shown on page 8 in Article 32 of the May 6, 2013 special town meeting warrant and replacing it with a new Section 10 to read as follows. Section 10, impounding, pickup, and boarding fees. The animal control officer shall charge an owner of a dog that has been impounded by the animal control officer for any reason, $25 for the pickup and retrieval of said dog. Boarding fees shall be the prevailing daily fee as charged by the kennel used by the town of Rowley, or any portion thereof, for boarding of said dog. All such impounding fees shall be paid by the owner of a dog directly to the kennel prior to release by the animal control officer.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends.
Are there any questions regarding Article 32? All those in favor of Article 32 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 32 passes, and this completes the special town meeting. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the special town meeting.
I move the town adjourn the May 6, 2013 special town meeting.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning the special town meeting signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. We will now start, it's a few minutes past 9 o'clock, we will start the annual town meeting, and as I said before, this is to give us a budget for FY14.
Madam Moderator, I move to allow the following non-resident individuals permission to speak if called upon during the May 6, 2013 annual town meeting. Judith Pickett, Town Council. Deborah Egan, Town Administrator. Conservation Agent, Frank Basic. Pamela Jacobson, Library Director. Coordinator of Health Services, Frank Mangiani. Principal Assessor, Sean McFadden. Building Inspector, Ken Ward. Highway Surveyor, Ron Keith. John Mercer, Water Superintendent, Laura Hamilton. Water Department Business Manager, Winnie Garosa Whittier. Vocational Technical School Superintendent, Christopher Farmer. Triton Regional School District Superintendent, Ryan Fouché. Triton Regional School District Assistant Superintendent, State Representative Brad Hill, Senator Bruce Tarr, David Jack, Interim Business Manager, Whittier Vocational Technical School.
Second.
This is a list of people that may have to come before you to explain something. All those in favor of this signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. And I would like to instruct everybody that Article 1 and Article 2 is open to anybody during this meeting.
Town of Rowley, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, warrant for annual town meeting, May 6, 2013, Essex SS, to the constables of the town of Rowley and the county of Essex.
Madam Moderator, I move to suspend further reading of the May 6, 2015 annual town meeting warrant because present town meeting members have a copy of this warrant.
Second.
Does everybody have a copy of this warrant for the special town meeting? All those in favor of, for the annual, thank you. For the annual town meeting, all those in favor of suspending the reading of this warrant signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Go ahead.
Article 3, I move the town to vote suspend in town meeting the application of Section 19 and Section 20 of town meeting bylaw pertaining to the reconsideration of all money articles. Such suspension intended for a specific purpose to build to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5 so-called, and to give blanket warning hereby that any money article may, at the end of the meeting, and after all articles have been acted upon, be moved for reconsideration in order to balance the total level of funds raised and appropriated within the limitations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 21C.
Second.
Are there any questions under Article 3? All those in favor in Article 3 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 3 passes. Article 4 is in order.
Article 4, I move the town to vote to fix the annual compensation of elected officers of the town as required by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 41, Section 108, as printed on page 1 of the May 6, 2013 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Are there any questions regarding the elected? Please come forward and state your name and address, please, and speak into the mic.
Maureen Kraus, Weathersfield Street. Is this...
Could you speak into the mic?
All these salaries are what we're looking to agree with?
That's the next article.
That's not this article?
No.
Okay, I apologize.
Are there any other questions regarding Article 4? All those in favor of Article 4 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 4 is in place. I'm sorry, Article 5. What I have asked the Finance Committee to do regarding Article 5 is that we're going to read the bold print, like general government, town moderator, board of selectmen, and go through. If there are any holes, I will listen for the word hold. When we finish with all of Article 5, I will go back and say I heard a hole, let's say around something with the Board of Selectmen. What line was it? I will then mark that line, and then we will come back and discuss these individual lines. We have about 100 and, to read every one of these is going to take a long time. There's 147 lines, and I believe that most of them are self-explanatory, but if there is any hold on any one of them, we will address them individually once we go through the whole thing. The Finance Committee is going to read the bold lettering and then give us a subtotal. Like when it gets down to all of the town expenses, line 54 will give us a subtotal. So is the Finance Committee ready for Article 5?
Yes, madam.
Who's going to, wait a minute, is the Board of Selectmen reading the beginning of Article 5 before we start with the Finance Committee, or how is this being done? Okay, just the top part.
Article 5, General Omnibus Budget, to see what sums of money the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer and appropriate from available funds, including overlay and free cash, to defray the expenses of town for forthcoming fiscal year, including bonds, notes, interest, or take any other action relevant thereto.
Okay. Finance Committee?
General Government, Town Moderator, line 1. Board of Selectmen, lines 2 through 12. Finance Committee, 13 through 15. Town Accountant, lines 16 through 18. Board of Assessors, line 19 through 24. Treasurer Tax Collector, lines 25 through line 30.
Hold. I heard a hold. Go ahead.
Town Council, lines 31 and 32. Personnel Board, line 33. IS Department, line 34. Town Clerk, lines 35 through 37. Elections, lines 38 and 39. Registrar of Voters, lines 40 through 43. Planning.
40,
Bo-
no, through 41.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Registrar of Voters, lines 40 and 41. Conservation Commission, lines 42 and 43. Planning Board, lines 44 through 48. Zoning Board of Appeals, lines 49 through 50. Agricultural Commission, line 51. Town Hall, lines 52 and 53. Town Hall Annex, 54. Subtotal is $1,081,669. Public Safety, Police Department, lines 55 through 60. Constables, line 61. Fire Department, line 62 through 66. Ambulance Service, line 67. Inspection Department, line 68 through 70. Emergency Management Services, line 71 and 72. Animal Inspector, line 72 through 75. 73 through 75. Animal Control Officer, line 76 and 77. Tree Warden, Moth Control, lines 78 and 79. Harbor Master, lines 80 through 84. Shellfish Commission, lines 85 and 86. Shellfish Constable, lines 87 and 88. Subtotal, $1,919,645.
Schools, line 89 through 92, subtotal $8,287,699. Under Public Works, Highway Department, lines 93 and 95. Snow and ice removal, line 96. Recycling, lines 97 and 98. Fire hydrants, line 99. Street lighting, lines 100. Town land maintenance, line 101. Cemetery Commission, lines 102 and 103. Subtotal, $496,925. Under Health and Human Services, Board of Health, line 104 to 108. Council on Aging, lines 109 through 112. Veterans Affairs, lines 113 and 114. Handicap Commission, lines 115, subtotal $279,864. Under Recreation and Historic, Raleigh Public Library, lines 116 through 118. Recreation Committee, lines 119 through 121. Historical, lines 122 and 123. Other, lines 124 and 125. Subtotal, $290,461. Debt, lines 126 to 143. Subtotal, $439,028. Insurance, lines 144 through 147. Subtotal, $1,262,197. Grand total, $14,057,488.
Thank you. I heard one whole, and it was, I believe, with the treasurer collectors. And could somebody please tell me what line they wanted that for the hold? 25? Okay. Bob, would you like to see what we have about this budget?
looking at the whole budget, I can read my statement that I read last week at the informational meeting, but we have a balanced budget this year.
Okay, and there was a hold on line 25. Would that person come forward and ask the question on line 25? And again, your name and address, please.
Yep, Franklin, Devonshire, 89 Kittery Avenue. Just in looking at that, I'm looking at the increase from fiscal year 2012 to 2014. There's a 40% salary increase. And I'm curious, because I noticed that we're sending our taxes into a lockbox, and I'm still trying to figure out where we went from, how we went from 49,000 to 71,000 in just 2 years. I haven't seen a raise like that ever.
Karen Summit, Treasurer Collector. In fiscal year 2012, the old Treasurer Collector retired in the middle of the year, so that was a partial year salary. Her full year salary before she retired was, I believe, in the neighborhood of about $73,000. Am I close? So the position is still not funded at the level that it was 2 years ago. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Did you hear that the town accountant says that the salary was $73,000 2 years ago? Okay. Are there any other questions regarding this general budget for the town? Article 5. Come forward and state your name and address, please.
My name is Karen Milo, 656 Haverhill Street. I'd like to know why the town administrator salary and executive secretaries has gone up $30,000.
But you need to tell us what line are you talking?
I'm sorry, line 3 and 4. I see the town administrator went from 80 to 97, which was a $17,000 raise, and then there's another $4,000 raise for fiscal 14. And line 4, the executive secretaries are going up $10,000.
Okay, well, I'm going to check with legal counsel because you did not put a hold on those, and we went through the individual amount. Can I allow her to ask the question?
Okay, what was the first one?
Was it 3 and 4, you said? 3 and 4.
3 and 4. Okay. The town administrator's job, that is negotiated, and that was with Board of Selectmen, with the town administrator. And when we started to look at her salary, looking back, was it 2 years ago, she was grossly underpaid compared to other towns in the surrounding area of a comparable size. And so the Board of Selectmen in negotiations came up with that salary in negotiations with.
Yeah, basically, if you remember right last year, we appropriated $10,000 to do a personnel study. And we did that outside of the town. We hired a consultant to actually do that for us so we could get some solid numbers so that it couldn't be, we didn't want anything from the inside, we wanted it all from the outside. And when we looked at the administrator's salary, we found out that it wasn't really up to par. We have a town next to us that's paying well over $115,000 right now. So we're not even close to what's around us, even at this rate. I don't know how many of you people had a chance to deal with our administrator, but she's a terrific person. I go by there on a Sunday morning, I see her car in the parking lot. I get emails from her all hours of the day, sometimes around midnight. She's in that office typing out emails. I mean, I don't know how lucky we got, why we got so lucky. The other person that's as dedicated as Debbie is. I would certainly encourage you to take the selectman's recommendation and pay her a decent salary so we can hang on to her. Thank you.
Again, working these past 5 years with Ms. Egan, I am very impressed at her work ethic. I cannot say enough. I worked for 40 years in the private sector, and I have to give her accolades of her work ethic. Saturdays and Sundays, many times, I'm on the phone with Ms. Egan. She's at the office receiving emails from her. I can't say enough. She has a degree in public administration in both undergraduate and graduate degrees. People like Deborah Egan don't grow on trees. Believe me, we are so lucky to have her as our town administrator. And I think if you watched, it was last week before, when we did her evaluation, I can't say enough, and I think the board would say the same thing of working with her.
Come forward.
Yeah, David Peterson, Newbury, 25 Newbury Road. I'm a member of the Personnel Board, and this is the year, last year you gave us money, $10,000 to do a comparative study of all our town officials, town employees, in relation to other towns around and within the town itself. Now, we had 11 communities that were more or less equal to Raleigh in the area that we surveyed. They included Boxford, Essex, Georgetown, Groveland, Hamilton, Wenham, Manchester by the Sea, Merrimack, Middleton, Newbury, Rockport, and West Newbury. The average, 9 of those 11 communities have a town administrator, and the average salary in those communities, that takes all those communities, you add up the different salaries and divide by 9, and the average salary is $111,290. So if we're paying our administrator 101, she's still $10,000 below the average of all those surrounding towns that I mentioned. So that's one of the valuable points of putting together a survey like this, to see how our employees are paid versus other towns and cities around us. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay.
On the executive secretary salary, again, anybody who comes into the office, I hang around the selectman's office a lot, and believe me, nobody goes out of that office or comes in that doesn't have that answer. Executive secretaries, very impressed with both of them, what they do in that office. Again, anybody who comes into that office is treated with courtesy and respect, and the knowledge that these two individuals have, I can't say enough.
And I would echo Bob's statement. They're there most of the time. We do have 2 part-timers. That's why the salary is actually so low. They just split between 2 people. So it's really not extravagant for the work they've done. They put all of this town meeting together, and you've seen we're not even halfway there yet. We only got an hour and a half to go. So we're not even going to make it in 1 day. But they worked on this
Oh, yes,
for
we
months, literally months, to get it together and make it work and keep our town running in an efficient manner. So I'd echo again, I just suggest that we have a good deal here. Thank you.
Okay. Now you can come forward. I promise you, nobody else will
No,
speak.
I just want to say one thing. This is nothing personal. I work for the town in the assessor's office, and most people who work for the town work very hard.
Okay, thank you. Now, are there any other questions regarding Article 5? Seeing none, we have a grand total of $14,058,480. Yeah. Oh, go right ahead.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate $13,387,488 and transfer and appropriate the sum of $600,000 from free cash and transfer and appropriate the sum of $70,000 from the overlay reserve for a total of $14,057,488 to defray the expenses of the town for the forthcoming fiscal year, including bonds, notes, and interest.
I second this article, or this
Okay.
motion.
Article 5 has been moved in second. Are there any other questions regarding Article 5? All those in favor in Article 5 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous.
929.
Article 6.
Madam Moderator, I make a motion to, for the Water Department budget, to see if the town will transfer and appropriate the sum of $1,996,000, I'm sorry, $1,996,595 from the Water Department Enterprise Fund for fiscal year 2014 to include in the fiscal year 14 budget, line number 13, extraordinary and unforeseen expenses to be expended only after approval by a majority vote of the Board of Selectmen for Water Department expense that is deemed to be either extraordinary or unforeseen, or take any action relative thereto.
Second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Would you like me to read every line, or do you want me to go the same route as?
Why don't you do the wages and salaries and then give the subtotal, and then if there's a hold, we'll come back. Okay.
Wages and salaries, lines 1 through 7. The subtotal is $503,747. Hold.
Was that a hold? It was a faint hold. Did I hear a hold or not hear a hold? A hold? Yes, there is a hold. Okay.
Okay. Line 8 and 9, the maintenance and engineering operation labor. That's for $387,000 and $30,000 for a subtotal of $417,000. New treatment plant expenses, lines 10 and 11. The maintenance treatment is $63,800. Private treatment is $25,000 for a subtotal of $88,800. Line 12 and 13. That's the capital plan program for $50,000, extraordinary and unforeseen expenses for $50,000. Subtotal, $100,000. The total of lines 1 through 13 is $1,109,547. Debt service, lines 14 through 26. Subtotal is $887,048, for a total of $1,996,595. Plus Article 7 indirect cost of $117,570. We have a grand total for the budget for the Water Department of $2,114,165. I'd like to say that not only the Water Department and the Board of Water Commissioners, specifically Roy and myself, worked on this very diligently with the finance team, with the town. It was a group effort to try to get this as lean as we could and provide our water to our customers and to meet the demands and project out what we need for this next year. So we worked very hard. We had a lot of meetings going back and forth with the selectmen and the finance committee and the budget review team, and we came up with this budget. I think that our efforts are fruitful, that we got the leanest budget that we possibly can for this upcoming year, and I'm sure that we can make the necessary the necessary actions to provide us a safe drinking water supply.
We had a hold, and I do want to clarify one thing at the bottom here. It says plus Article 7, the indirect cost. That's the next article we're going to be voting on, so the total is the $1,996,595, all right? That is the, that's the number that we're voting on right now. And there was a hold, and on what line was that for? And could you please bring up your reason? State your name and what line, and your name, address, and what line?
Linda Cook, 84 Main Street, Raleigh, and I just have, on line number 1, I just want to understand why the superintendent is getting a $12,000 raise this year with all the problems that have been in the water department. It doesn't seem to have had a very good superintendent this year, so I just have some questions on that. That's all.
Okay, Mr. Peterson for the Personnel Board will address that again.
Once again, not to repeat what I said before, we surveyed a number of communities for all these different positions. The 4 of the communities that we surveyed out of the list I gave you before have their own water departments. The average salary for those 4 departments is $74,802. The purpose of one of our purposes was to try to bring our people up to the average salary of surrounding communities. The issue being that if we lose our superintendent, we have to hire someone, and if we don't pay a comparable salary, we're not going to get somebody. We don't evaluate performances. We evaluate job descriptions and what the position requires for education, training, et cetera. So we don't. Our salary recommendation has nothing to do with how a person performs in that job. That's not our purview. Secondly, we took into consideration that later on this year, the new water treatment plant, $12 million water treatment plant is going to come online, which is going to require a great deal more work and expertise, et cetera, et cetera. And we took that into consideration in trying to bring this position up to the average, not being overpaid. It's the average of what surrounding communities are paying.
Does that answer your question? Okay. Are there any other questions regarding this article? Yes, come forward. State your name and address, please.
Hi, my name's Kevin Snow, 82 Hillside Street. I just have a question regarding line 13. Is this a new insertion into, the water department budget? And if it is, could you give us a reason why this was inserted in? What will it be used for? What are some of the possible expenses that we could see it being used for?
Is this a new line item? Yeah, Bob. Bob. Okay.
He's going to hold on the finance administrators.
The auditors recommended that we have a reserve fund of that amount.
And Bob, are these a few more line items than what was in there before from previous years?
Okay, I just guess I'd like to know for what? Would this be for, say, things regarding the garage, some of those issues, or some of the other things we've discussed tonight?
When it comes to the water budget, let me reassure everyone in this room, this board has taken safeguards and put them in. If you watched all of the board meetings going back this past year, you will know that this board stepped up and has done due diligence. We have put a fiscal team in place. We are watching everything that comes down from the water department. Sat down with the town treasurer, town administrator, town auditor, Bob Murray, myself. We've gone through this budget, believe me, soup to nuts. I rest assured that everything that comes out of 401 Central Street goes past this fiscal team.
Very good, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I'd like to...
Kind of answer Mr. Snow's question, not just Mr. Snow, Mr. Snow. The auditors recommended this when they did the auditing of the books this last time. understand is they want a little bit of money set aside in case there's something drastic happens, such as the wall blows out of the storage tank, or a 16-inch main on Cable Street breaks and tears up everything. Some of these breaks, if something like that were to happen, we'd be looking at well over $100,000 just to patch it up. So the auditors felt that it would be very prudent for us to set some of this money aside. We have it to set aside, which we did this year. So this is what the team did, was set this in here as a $50,000 to spend on capital projects or extraordinary circumstances. And that's why it's here. $50,000 is really not a lot of money if something should happen. So hopefully we can build that through the years, and if something does happen, we'll be ready for it. And we won't have to go and borrow money or save money or shut down the water system and take it from somewhere else. I mean, it's just one of those things. You just gotta have it there, and hopefully you never need it.
I'd like to just add that we've had several emergencies throughout the years. I can assure you that we will not spend that money unless it's extraordinary or unforeseen. So, you know, this is in a budget item that we need to stabilize things, so that's why we put it in. And once again, we have a lot of oversight on this, and we're going to be very, very diligent in making sure that we fill the criteria of being an extraordinary.
Also, I'd like to commend Commissioner Toomey for stepping forward and working with the Board of Selectmen. It has been so helpful. I can't say enough for what Tim has done. Thank you, Tim.
Could I have your name and address, please?
Dan Halliday, 20 Vincent Circle. Just a general question on who pays for the water treatment plant. My understanding is that only the ratepayers who use the water pay for the treatment plant. I want to ask the town to consider the merits of all residents paying for the water treatment plant the same way if we built a new school, that everybody would pay for a new school even if you didn't have children in the school. Everybody benefits in their land values because there is a water treatment plant. Everybody benefits in the increase in the value of their property. And also, we have seen an increase in land development with new towns, new homes, and condo associations being built. Thank you.
Well, the new towns and new homes are all paying because they're all hooking up to water. Why don't you address, somebody address that? Somebody want to?
Thanks, Bob. Here's a good point.
David has.
Although the only people that really benefit are the ones that are taking the water. The ratepayer pays for the treatment plant. So if you don't have town water, you have a well, so you have your own expenses there. You're going to maintain your, you have to test the well, you got to pay for electricity to pump the water. If it goes bad, then you got to tie into the town system, that's going to cost you extra money. I believe the hookup fee now is like $3,000, is that right, Laura?
Yes.
Yes, $3,000, you can chip for it, yes. So, it's always been that way, I understand what you're saying about the schools. Those get paid forward. I've already paid for my kids, and I'm still paying for somebody else's. I don't mind doing that, because my kids get a good education. So, if that's the way that works. It's not quite the same as water. It really isn't, at least in my mind. I know he keeps shaking his head no, so I know he's not agreeing with me.
All right,
I don't see it that way. The ratepayer is the one that's foots the bill.
All right, Mr. Peterson again.
If the town wants to change that, you certainly can bring an article before town meeting, and we can vote on it. And if the town votes for it, then that's what goes. But it's really not that way at this point.
Yeah, Dave Peterson, Newbury Road. When I moved to Rowley 40 years ago, the town water system was paid by all the taxpayers. At some point along the way, I'm going to say 20, 25, 30 years ago, we adopted Mass General laws which set up the Water Enterprise Fund, which is what we currently operate under. Under that law, the water department ratepayers, people that use the water, are required by law to pay any and all expenses, so that there's no money comes out of the general tax rate to support the water department. It all comes out of the water rates. And that's where we stand. The only way you can change this is to abolish the water department as an enterprise fund to bring it back under the tax rate, and that has a whole lot of other issues involved. But at this point, we have no choice, but that cost of that treatment plant is billed to the water users. Thank you.
Come forward.
My name is Richard Bocelli, 10 Vincent Circle. I was wondering if I could get an explanation between item number 3 and also number 4, the disparity between the requested $206,000 as opposed to $378 from fiscal 2013, and also if there's a reduction in personnel that got to that figure, why are we paying $124,000 for overtime and standby? Thank you very much.
Tim, do you want to?
I think that it reflects that we're, right now we have a reduction in staff. That's one reason. The standby and the overtime is, I think that part of the water department wages before was a combination of both those things, and now we split it out further. So it's the sum of those two things, let's see, is 330,000.
Yeah.
So it does show a decrease in the total overall, of those two lines 3 and 4. I think that's, with Karen, would you say that that's pretty much what we did there? So,
Tim?
you know, and then Sue. So Sue can answer these financial questions better than I.
Maybe you can help me. I do know a lot of this, Sue Bailey, town accountant, a lot of this is planned overtime on the weekends. Our staff has to go to the wells each day, add chemicals, test, I'm not sure what, but they do get overtime. So there's every single weekend, one guy, and so much of this is planned overtime. I don't know how much of it is unexpected overtime for breaks.
We separated the town wages from, the wages from the overtime.
That's correct.
I don't know how many of you might want to look at the last year's town warrant and look at what the water department budget is like. But you're going to find with this one, the financial team was put together. A lot of this stuff has been separated out from a single line, such as the wages, as Bobby said. Last year you saw a line, wages, period, big figure. Right now you've got it broken down as to each category and where the money's going. We did a lot with the maintenance issues and things like that. We drove things out of there so we could see exactly where the money was going. Rather than just have a maintenance operation budget with a huge figure in it, the money was going wherever it was going to go. So I would added a lot of lines here to make this budget more easier for us to work with the financial team. So we can see where the money is actually going. But we just have a base figure with a large number in it, because not even knowing what is being spent on it.
I'd like to add, too, that the overtime and standby time is, we're required by law to man the treatment facilities and distribution facilities in our town. So on the weekends, we do have a shift that comes in and to make sure that everything is working properly. Normally, we operate an 8-hour shift. In that time, during the week, we perform our sampling, we make sure everything is treated properly, just for the distribution in our system. And the primary operator oversees that. On the weekends, we do need some coverage to just make sure everything is working properly, and that accounts for that kind of expense. And then, as Bob stated, that, you know, we split things out so we can get a better handle on from year to year to see what kind of expenses we're dealing. So we're dealing with more detail so we can make sure we can, you know, provide a economical operation. The other thing that impacts our overtime budget is we do have breaks, and the breaks unfortunately occur at times when you least expect them, and commonly at night, during weekends and things like that. So we have to mobilize the crew to address that in a very, you know, expeditious manner. And so we do have the breaks. We haven't had many breaks in the last, say, 3 or 4 months. We've been lucky, but they do occur, and we have experienced that kind of budget with the past operations. So we feel confident that we can provide our customers the service that they deserve for safe water.
Are there any other questions?
Oh, one other thing. If you watch the selectmen's meeting, going back into the mid-fall and coming forward and watch the selectmen as they've asked questions of the water department, reason for where we break this out now is full transparency so that you, the ratepayers, and you, the taxpayers, will know where your money is going. And this board will continue on that going forward. I can assure you that, believe me.
All righty. No other, seeing there are no other questions or anybody else to ask on Article 6, all those in favor of Article 6 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 7.
Madam Moderator, I move to see if the town will vote to transfer from the Water Department Enterprise Fund to the general fund the sum of $117,570 for the following items, and that any other money spent by the general government on behalf of the Water Department be reimbursed to the general fund from the Water Department Enterprise Fund for fiscal year 2014, or take any other action relative thereto. Do I have a second?
Second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Once again, this is part of the overall grand total, as we talked about before. So I could read off the items quickly here. Line 27, county retirement, $45,000. 28, employee health insurance, $54,581. Line item 29, life insurance premiums, $110. Accountant's fee is line 30, $3,090. 31, treasurer collector's fee, $6,458. The audit, line 32, is $1,650. 33 is Medicare, $6,681, for a total of $117,570.
Are there any questions regarding this article? All those in favor of Article 7 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 7 passes. Tim, do you have those two articles? You made the motion on?
Yeah, I think I do.
And Article 8 is in order. It's 6 and 7. Go ahead.
Madam Moderator, Curtis Turner, 372 Weathersfield Street. I noticed hydrant rentals in here, and I saw an article in the Newburyport Daily News recently that said that Newburyport had decided to buy their hydrants at a significant savings over time. Might be something the town might want to look at.
All righty, thank you for that information. I would assume that the Water Department and the Water Board, when they start meeting after the election next week, will be addressing some of these issues. All right, Article 8.
Guess I sat down too early.
You got a couple more.
Madam Moderator, to see if the town will vote to create a Water Department Stabilization Fund pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 5B, to be used for the purpose of major capital purchases and to offset future rate increases to take any...
Tim, do you have the Article 8? The motion, I mean?
He's reading it now.
No?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Let me read that one. All right, Article 8, I'm sorry. Back with us. Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to create a Water Department Stabilization Fund pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 5B, to be used for the purpose of major capital purchases and to offset future rate increases. Do I have a second?
Second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
This is going to be a two-thirds vote, so give us an explanation, and if anybody wants any questions regarding this, to please stand over here so that we can kind of move this along.
We need a stabilization fund to take care of some of these expenses that are going to hit us in the next few years. I'd like to, Sue, could you add to that, or?
Chair?
Yeah.
Just to add in the stabilization fund, as you all know, in the town, we have a stabilization fund, and I take great pride in putting money aside for, it's a rainy day fund, but in this case, it's the same thing. In the water department, they have membranes that the water is filtered through, and these membranes are quite costly. Sitting in the fiscal team, we talked about this, and we felt that they put this money aside in a significant amount, and put it in there, again, for these membranes. These membranes can cost anywhere $500,000 for each one, and they last. And water is not much, I'm not an expert on water, but anywhere these filters last 5 to 12 years, depending on the technicians and how they take care of these membranes and the maintenance on them. So I think if any who've seen any of the military has these membranes, and they put them, they can take any kind of water, and it's just absolutely amazing, and filter it through. And they can, the military version of this, they can do 1,800 gallons of water and out of sludge water. So these membranes are highly effective.
I'd like to add to that, the membranes are, there's going to be 2 membranes with the facility. And they're not, they do expire. So we're going to have an expense there that we're going to have to deal with. And we have the money available. These Article 8 and Article 9 are related to each other. The Article 8 creates the stabilization fund, and Article 9 funds it. So this filter membrane is an expensive, expendable. It'll last anywhere from 5 to 7 years, and we've got to prepare to pay for a replacement.
Richard Gagnon, Bennett Hill Road. I understand the creation of a fund for the unforeseen capital expenditures. But what happens if the unforeseen capital expenditures eat up this fund when it's time for these membranes to be replaced? How is that going to be handled by the town?
Well, each year we'll add to the stabilization fund as we go forward. This is not just a one-time adding to the stabilization. It's the same thing as we do on the general fund, where you add to the stabilization. This year, we're going to add $200,000. We're going to be up to $532,000. Our bogey is $1 million in the stabilization fund. The same thing in the water department.
Okay, because I'm a little kind of concerned because I'm trying to bridge the gap between an operational expense that the water treatment facility incurs in its normal course of operation, which means at some point there's a replacement of equipment, a replacement of material. And typically that's done with a capital appropriations fund or something of that nature. That does that mean that this stabilization fund will act as sort of a capital appropriations type for a major expense that would be incurred?
Sue's going to.
That basically, there will be the funding for a capital project, it's not just replacing the membranes. The money will be already set aside. If in fact the fund isn't big enough to pay for the membranes, then it goes on to the list.
We do have a, we do have a capital plan. I was not involved in it. The water department has put it together. I believe they're looking at about 5 years of what their needs are. They're looking at trucks. They're looking at all the stuff that they do need. And in line 12, we did appropriate $50,000 for the first year of that program. And they decided to hold off on a few things like trucks because there's so many expenses this year. But there is a needed plan, a 5-year plan of what's needed, when it needs to be replaced. And this is the first year. Line 12 is the first year of that planned replacement. And we're hoping to use the stabilization for larger items, such as the membranes.
So if I understand you correctly, Bob, this is a fund that's going to grow each year?
Yes.
Funds available.
Depending on what we can put, what the town can put aside, or what the water commission can put aside.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Come forward, please. Yep.
I think my question was just answered. Are you talking 50,000 for the fund in the first year? I mean, we'd like to have some idea of what maybe the water stabilization fund requires.
That's the next article.
The next article. Yeah. This article just creates the stabilization fund. That's the way the procedure has to go, so.
All right. Seeing no other questions on Article 8 to create a stabilization fund, and this requires a 2/3 vote. I'll go for the majority. If not, we will do a hand count. All those in favor of Article 8 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It's unanimous. Article 9.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer the sum of $344,050 from the Water Department free cash to the Water Department Stabilization Fund.
Second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
This is funding the previous article. The $344,000, I believe, came out of, is it free cash? It came out of free cash, which is money that we get certified that is available for this purpose, or any other purpose that we see, so.
Sue, just for clarification, this is free cash from the Water Department Enterprise Fund? Correct. Okay. Are there any questions regarding this dollar amount being put into the stabilization fund under Article 9? All those in favor of Article 9 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. 10 is in place. Who's doing 10?
10, 11, 12,
12 and 13, okay. How are we doing this one? Okay.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to authorize the following accounts and their uses as printed in Articles 10 through 13 on page 10 in the May 6, 2013 annual town meeting warrant. Article 10, Municipal Light Board, Municipal Light Plant Annual Appropriation. Article 11, Harbor Master Municipal Waters Maintenance and Improvement Fund. Article 12, Cemetery Commissioners Perpetual Care Trust Interest Account. Article 13, Board of Assessors Recertification Fund.
Second.
Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
All righty, are there any questions regarding this article? This is taking care of 10, 11, 12, and 13 in your warrant. Seeing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Articles 10 through 13 passes. Article 14.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53-E1/2, to authorize the following 12 revolving accounts and their uses for fiscal year 2014. Council on Aging, $5,000, the expenditure cap. Board of Health, $20,000. Parks and Recreation Committee and Board of Selectmen, $30,000. Parks and Recreation Committee and Board of Selectmen, $5,000. Board of Selectmen, $2,000. Highway Department, $12,000. Shellfish Department, $6,000. Zoning Board of Appeals and Board of Appeals, $4,000. Board of Cemetery Commissioners, $10,000. Library, $2,500. Agricultural, $1,000. Harbor Master, $30,000.
Second.
Finance Committee recommends these
Okay.
expenditures.
Are there any questions under Article 14? Seeing none, all those in favor of Article 14 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 14 passes. Article 15 is in order.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote pursuant to the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53-E1/2, to authorize the use of a revolving fund by the 375th Anniversary Committee and the Board of Selectmen for the fiscal year 2014, into which donations and receipts from activities shall be deposited and which may be used by said 375th Anniversary Committee and the Board of Selectmen to pay for the expenses incurred to hold the celebratory events and activities to mark the town's 375th anniversary, which such expenditures not to exceed $20,000.
Second.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded under Article 15 to set up a revolving fund for the 375th. Seeing any questions on this? All those in favor of Article 15 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 15 passes. Article 16 is in order. Who's doing Article 16? Charlie, sorry.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to transfer and appropriate the sum of $53,439 from the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust Septic Loan Program to pay the debt service on the town's loan from the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust.
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
This is an article we have at the annual town meeting to authorize us to repay to the state the interest on the $1 million plus that we have taken from this trust fund to extend low-interest 2% loans to citizens who need to improve and upgrade or replace their septic systems. Right. Yeah, the principal, excuse me, yeah. We pay no interest to the state. Right.
Are there any questions regarding Article 16? All right, all those in favor of passing Article 16 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 16 passes.
1010.
Article 17. Mr. Todd.
Madam Moderator, Article 17, I move the town vote to appropriate or reserve from the Community Preservation Fund fiscal year 2014 annual revenues and amounts recommended by Community Preservation Committee for committee administrative expenses, debt service, community preservation projects, and other expenses, with each item to be considered a separate appropriation. The summary reads, reserve creation in support of affordable housing, 10%, $15,012. Reserve acquisition and preservation of open space, 10%, $15,012. Reserve acquisition and preservation of historic buildings and landscapes, 10%, $15,012. Appropriation administration, 5%, $7,506. That's by law. And the appropriations are debt service for the Bradstreet Farm, which we bought here at town meeting a few years ago for about $2,750,000, is $198,682 each year. And of that, let's see. The principal is $105,000. The Bradstreet interest each year is $46,174.34. The balance, which we still have to pay, is $1,692,422.49.
Has that been seconded?
I have a second here from Donald.
Okay. Is Donald here? Yes. Okay, sorry. All right, Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Any questions on this?
All the money which we collect both from the town and from the state is used for betterment community projects like the old center school. And they bought Hunsley Hill with it, Bradstreet property, the town hall, the new dome on top, things like that.
Okay, no other questions? Nothing? Okay. This is Article, I even lost the number of Articles. 17. All those in favor of passing Article 17 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 17 passes. Article 18 is in order.
1013.
Madam Moderator? I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $150,000 to be deposited into the other post-employment benefits trust, otherwise known as OPEB. Second.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Bob, very quickly on this, or?
Basically, OPEB is to cover the expenses of retirement and so forth. The federal government has been leaning on us pretty heavily. The state is also leaning on us heavily, but the accountants go crazy when we don't pay them to it. So we do have a couple extra dollars this year we're trying to put into it and keep raising it. We're nowhere near close to covering our obligation for this, but at least if we keep putting some money in it, we're making a progress, and hopefully they'll not come after us, so.
Any questions on Article 18? All those in favor of Article 18 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 18 passes. Article 19.
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $200,000 for the stabilization fund.
Second it. The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay, this is going to require two-thirds passage. This is to put money. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Again, as I talked about the stabilization fund, this is a rainy day fund. We put money aside every year. And again, we're going to be up, if we pass this tonight, we'll be up to $532,000. And hopefully our bogey is $1 million in that rainy day fund. I've often said at the selectmen's meetings, we're a lean and mean town, and which we are. We're kind of frugal, and this is a way of protecting ourselves in the future if something pops up. Again, I think this is a very good idea. Also, this affects our bond rating. We go out to borrow money. We have a AA2 bond rating. So as we go out to borrow on that bond rating, you get a lower interest rate. So it's advantageous for us as we build this stabilization fund.
Are there any questions regarding Article 19? All those in favor of passing Article 19 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Article 19 passes. Article 20.
Good evening. My name is Cliff Pierce. I'm a member of the Planning Board. And Madam Moderator, I would first like to give a brief report on the development of Articles 20 through 24, which are all zoning articles. These articles were initially developed by the town's zoning review committee, which includes the building inspector, our town planner, representatives of the Planning Board, Board of Appeals, and the selectmen. The articles that were developed went to the Board of Selectmen, which approved them and sent them to the Planning Board to hold a public hearing on the articles as required by state law. The Planning Board published notices in the Town Common on the articles on February 13, 2013, and February 20th, 2013, and we held a public hearing on February 27th, 2013, and on that date, the board voted unanimously to recommend adoption of Articles 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 of the warrant for the annual town meeting. Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to amend the zoning district map of the town of Rowley by transferring the premises hereinafter described from the Business Light Industry District to the Retail District. The property shown on a plan entitled Plan of Proposed Zoning Map Amendment on Assessor's Map 14, dated January 17, 2012, revised January 23, 2012, on file with the Planning Board, consisting of a portion of Lot 34, having approximately 35,200 square feet of area, as shown on such plan, and as shown on the plan printed on page 14 of the May 16, 2013 annual town meeting warrant.
All righty, thank you.
Article 20 would revise our zoning map by transferring a parcel of land from our Business Light Industry Zoning District, or BLI District, to our Retail District. The parcel in question is fairly small. It's only about 35,000 square feet of land. It's located at the corner of Route 1 and 133, basically behind the Agawam Diner. There's currently a building located on that parcel, and the zoning line between the BLI district and the retail district runs right through that building. So you have half of the building in the retail district and half in the BLI district. And this has created some administrative burdens for the town and the building inspector in terms of determining what uses are allowed in which part of the building and how to enforce those uses. So this article would basically eliminate those problems for the town by transferring the entire building and the area immediately around the building, consisting of essentially the parking lot, into the retail district.
Are there any questions regarding Article 21? Sorry, 20. I'm moving, sorry. I'm trying to rush it. You got it. All those in favor of passing of Article 20 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? 20 passes. Now you can go to 21.
Thank you. I move the town vote to revise Section 8.6.5.1 of the Rowley Protective Zoning Bylaw by deleting from such section the words and punctuation marks that appear in italics within parentheses, and by adding to such section the words and punctuation marks that appear in bold within brackets, as printed in Article 21 on page 14 of the annual town meeting warrant, which reads as follows. 8.6.5.1, sign illumination may be permitted subject to a design review and the issuance of a special permit by the planning board and subject to compliance with illumination standards established by section 8.6.5. Second? Is there a second?
Thank you.
As described, this article would amend the section of our zoning bylaw that deals with outdoor illuminated signs. Currently, the permit granting authority for outdoor illuminated signs is the Board of Selectmen. This article would transfer that authority to the Planning Board, and that's all that this article does.
Any questions under Article 21? All those in favor of Article 21 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 21 passes. Article 22 is in order.
I move the town vote to amend the Rowley Protective Zoning Bylaw by 1, revising sections 4.3.2, 4.4.2, 4.5.2, 4.6.2, 4.7.2, and 4.7.3 by deleting from such sections the words and punctuation marks that appear in italics within parentheses, and by adding to such sections the words and punctuation marks that appear in bold within brackets, as printed in Article 22 on pages 15 and 16 of the May 6, 2013 annual town meeting warrant, and 2, redesignating section 4.4.3 as section 4.4.4, and creating the following new section 4.4.3, which reads as follows. 4.4.3, the following uses are permitted in the outlying district provided a site plan is approved by the planning board. A, large-scale solar photovoltaic installations. And 3, revising section 6.6.2.2 to assert the words and punctuation marks that appear in bold within brackets as printed in Article 22 on page 17 of the May 6, 2013 annual town meeting warrant. And 4, revising section 2.0 definitions by adding a definition for large-scale solar photovoltaic installation to read as follows. Solar photovoltaic installation, large scale, a solar photovoltaic system that is structurally mounted on the ground, not roof mounted, and that covers more than 10,000 square feet of area.
Okay. I'll give an explanation.
This article looks like it makes a lot of changes, and it actually does, but most of those changes are non-substantive or purely editorial in nature. Currently, the bylaw identifies the various uses that are permitted within a specific zoning district by, in part, cross-referencing to other sections of the bylaw. So, for example, if you wanted to determine what uses are allowed in the outlying district, you would go to the section that creates the outlying district, and you would then find you would have to flip the pages to go to a different section to find out what's allowed there. So this has been kind of confusing to readers of the bylaw, and in an effort to make the bylaw user-friendly, we would basically, or this article would basically eliminate all those cross-references, so you would only have to go to the zoning district you're interested in and see what uses are allowed in that district. This article would also allow, as indicated, large-scale solar photovoltaic energy installations or solar energy farms. Currently, these installations are not allowed by our bylaw, but they also get special treatment under state law. So what that means currently is that if someone wanted to develop one of these solar energy farms, and they can be quite large, they can be over 2 or more acres, I understand. If they wanted to develop one of those installations anywhere in town, they could do so basically without undergoing any type of meaningful review by a town board. And this article would change that by allowing these installations in our outlying district and our coastal conservation district, but they would be subject to site plan review by the planning board. And essentially this means that the planning board would have the ability, before one of these installations is constructed, to work with the developer and address such matters as access, setback issues, screening, and things of that nature to ensure that these installations do not have an adverse impact on the local neighborhood.
All righty. Any questions under Article 22? All those in favor of Article 22 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 22 passes. Article 23?
Madam Moderator, I move the town vote to revise Section 5.4 of the Rowley Protective Zoning Bylaw, but by deleting from such sections the words and punctuation marks that appear in italics within parentheses, and by adding to such section the words and punctuation marks that appear in bold within brackets as printed in the Article 23 on page 18 of the May 6, 2013 annual town meeting warrant. This article would revise the section of our bylaw that deals with extensions to nonconforming uses, and I think I need to explain that a little bit. It pertained to extensions to nonconforming single and two-family structures. And basically, a nonconforming single or two-family structure is a house that's located on a lot that is in some way non-compliant with other requirements of the bylaw, such as setback requirements and frontage requirements. And what this section of the bylaw does that we're proposing to amend is to identify which types of extensions to these non-conforming structures can be approved by the town without sending the applicant to the Board of Appeals for a public hearing and the issuance of a special permit, versus which types of these extensions to non-conforming structures have to be sent to the Board of Appeals for the issuance of a special permit. So that's basically what the section of the bylaw does. This article would make 2 changes to that section. First, it would provide that the initial call, which types of extensions can be approved without a public hearing, would be determined not by a zoning administrator appointed by the Board of Appeals, as the bylaw currently provides, but by the town's building inspector. So this is purely an administrative change that I don't think is really going to affect anyone. The second change would be that the article would amend the bylaw to provide that if you have, for an extension of a non-conforming structure, that's located on a lot that's not non-compliant with the frontage or lot size requirement, and that would increase the floor area of the structure by 50% or more, you would have to go to the Board of Appeals for the issuance of a special permit. It's not that that the Board of Appeals would necessarily deny that application. On the contrary, it would approve the application as long as it found that this expanded structure would not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood.
Are there any questions regarding Article 23? All those in favor of Article 23 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 23 passes. Article 24?
And finally, I move the town vote to revise Section 6.2, multifamily dwellings, and Section 6.7, New England Village Development of the Raleigh Protective Zoning Bylaw by deleting from such sections the words and punctuation marks that appear in italics within parentheses, and by adding to such sections the words and punctuation marks that appear in bold within brackets, as printed in Article 24 on page 19 of the May 6, 2013 Annual Town Meeting warrant. This article would revise the sections of our bylaw that deal with multifamily development or what's called a New England Village developments. And it would basically revise in each section the formula for determining the maximum number of dwelling units that could be approved as part of one of those developments. And that formula is currently based on the size of the parcel. So the larger the parcel, potentially the more units that could be approved. Currently, the bylaw requires 20,000 square feet of area for the first unit and 10,000 square feet of area or land for each additional unit. Now, we found that that formula works pretty well with smaller units, but that it's really too generous as the units become larger. That formula could allow for very large developments. For example, it could allow for 50, 60, and perhaps more developments on large parcels of land. And while we're in favor of modestly sized and well-designed multifamily developments, we really don't think developments of that size, 50 or more units, are really consistent with the town character. So we would correct what we see as the problem by basically flipping the criteria around. Under the proposed article, we would require 10,000 square feet of land for each of the first 6 units and 20,000 square feet of land for each additional unit. So this would mean that for small or smaller parcels of land, there would really be no change or not much of a change. For example, if you have a 2-acre parcel, under both the existing bylaw and the proposed bylaw, a maximum of 7 units would be allowed. As the parcel gets larger, this proposal would kick in and it would act to reduce the maximum number of units. So for example, if you have a 12-acre parcel, under the existing bylaw, 47, the maximum number of units would be 47. Under this proposal, the maximum number would be 27, and we believe a multifamily development of that size is more consistent with the town's character.
All righty. Any questions regarding Article 24? All those in favor of Article 24 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 24 passes.
Thank you.
Article 25. Thank you.
Madam Moderator.
Sue. Too many Bobs. Yes, I'm sorry.
Finally, Article 25. Move the town meeting in St. Mary's Church, rear, Route 1A, in Raleigh, and set Raleigh on Tuesday, May 14th, 2013, at 12 noon, to act on the following. 2 selectmen, 3 years. 1 moderator, 1 year. 1 constable, 3 years. 1 Board of Assessors member, 3 years. 1 planning board member, 5 years. 1 planning board member, 2 years unexpired. 1 municipal light board member, 3 years. 1 municipal water board member, 3 years. 1 shellfish commissioner, 3 years. 1 cemetery commissioner, 3 years. 3 trustees of public library, 3 years. 2 trustees of public library, 1 year unexpired. For Regional School District Committee, 1 Newbury member, 3 years, 1 Rowley member, 3 years, 1 Rowley member, 1 year unexpired, 1 Salisbury member, 3 years.
Second.
All right. It's been moved and seconded under Article 25. All those in favor on Article 25 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Article 25 passes. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, but I would like to ask everybody, if you could, when we get up, take your chairs. The racks are in the back here, which could help the janitors, because they're back here again tomorrow morning, and this way here, they can get the room ready for the kids for their lunchroom. And this way here, we've done, and I thank you. I didn't think we could do it before 11 o'clock, but you proved me wrong again, and I appreciate you proving me wrong. Can I have that motion to adjourn?
Madam Moderator, I'll make a motion to, the town vote to adjourn the May 6, 2013 annual town meeting.
Second it.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this regular town meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're done.
Madam Moderator,
Yes. What?
I would just like to say that I'd like to thank Mr. Dalzell, has served
Oh, yes. If we
6
could just
years
take a
on our,
minute.
6 years on our board, really helpful to work with, and I know my other colleague will say the same, and he's going to throw his hat out of the selectmen and be a member of the water board, which is going to be a good thing.